Welcome to Your Yes-Filled Life. I'm Brenda Winkle, energetic leadership guide, psychic medium, and somatic coach for ambitious leaders who know their gifts are real and who want to stand fully in them. Here, you'll learn how to trust your intuition, embody your vision, and step into the freedom you've been craving, all without chasing more certifications or carrying stuff that does not belong to you. Every week, I'll share powerful practices and conversations with thought leaders and changemakers that help you transform your vision into embodied confidence, claim your gifts without apology, and lead with both clarity and freedom. Because your gifts aren't cute, they're powerful, they're real, and they're needed. Start today by downloading my free energy audit at brendawinkle.com/audit. It's the exact tool I use to track what's fueling me and what's draining me. It will help you discern between that hit of achievement and true joy so that you can lead with more clarity and impact. This is your space to stop proving, start embodying, and live fully in your gifts. Welcome to Your Yes-Filled Life. Hello, and welcome to Your Yes-Filled Life. I'm your host, Brenda Winkle. I'm an energetic leadership guide, a psychic medium, and a somatic coach for heart-led entrepreneurs, creatives, leaders, educators, coaches, and healers. And I'm so excited to announce that the doors are now open for a brand new membership community called the Regulated Entrepreneur. If you've ever felt like your business depends on the next burst of energy, this is your invitation to come learn a more sustainable way to operate in your business. Inside the Regulated Entrepreneur, we blend nervous system tools, energetic practices, and ethical business strategies so that you can grow without burnout, and you can do it inside a supportive community. It's where the empaths, intuitives, and heart-led leaders come to learn to lead sustainably without sacrificing their sensitivity, their sanity, or their values. Join the community today. You can learn more at brendawinkle.com/regulated entrepreneur. Now, today we're exploring one of my favorite intersections of energy and leadership, Feng Shui. The spaces we live and work in don't just reflect our energy, they amplify it. Just like we clear and organize our inner world through breath work, energy healing, and intuitive practices, Feng Shui helps us bring that same harmony into our physical world. And when your environment supports your nervous system, your creativity flows. You stop pushing, your business starts responding. And that's the energetic alignment that I teach across all of my offers, from private coaching to the Regulated Entrepreneur membership. So whether you're adjusting furniture or refining your boundaries, this conversation today with the fabulous Moni Castaneda will help you create a space and a life that feels as expansive and grounded as you are. Moni Castaneda is a Feng Shui consultant, speaker, and author who has devoted over 2 decades to the study and practice of Feng Shui. Moni blends her knowledge of Western architecture with Eastern Feng Shui to help clients turn their current homes into dream homes that support them in every area of their lives. The result of working with Moni is a life you love in a home that makes you proud. Now, inside this episode, you're going to learn so much about how to amplify passion and love in your bedroom, whether you are partnered or not. You're going to learn about how to turn on the flow of money into your business with some simple adjustments. And at the end of the episode, I'm going to share what happened when I made the adjustments that Moni suggested that I make. I learned so much from this episode, and I can't wait for you to hear it too. Please join me in welcoming Moni Castaneda. Hi, Moni. Thank you for joining me.
Hi, and thank you so much for inviting me, Brenda. I'm very happy to be here.
I'm so excited for this conversation. Before we jump into talking about all things Feng Shui, I'd love to know, what is one thing you either did or did not do that has led to your yes-filled life?
Oh, wow, that's a very deep question. So one thing I did is that when I moved to the United States, at some point I was working a job that was more than full time all the time. I remember one summer I didn't get hot a single day because I was always inside with air conditioning. And so I remember I told myself, I'm never doing this again. And I prepared for 4 years to go freelance, you know.
Mm.
And that was, when I used to do graphic design, and it was one of the best decisions of my life to be the owner on my own time. But it
Oh
took
my
preparation,
gosh.
it took 4 years of preparing to get to that point. Yeah.
That's an amazing story. And I love that you highlight that it does take time to prepare.
Yes. Yeah, you can't just make an impulsive decision and say, I'm tired of working for somebody else. I'm going to start working for myself. It's not something that is automatic. It's something that you have to plan for, right?
Hmm. And I don't know,
Mhm.
did you feel like you needed to learn specific skills to be able to do that as well?
Well, more than learning specific skills was create a client base. So at the
Mm.
time, as I was doing graphic design for a printing company, and I needed to get well known in the area. I needed to get my own clients, so that at some point I was getting enough work so that I could be making about as much money as I was making at my job by working a lot less hours.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, I needed to do the same. And then also, there were some skills that I needed to develop to own a
Yeah.
business that I
Mm-hmm.
didn't even know what some of the words were. Like
Oh,
when I was working part-time as a teacher and I was working, I mean, that was confusing. When I was working full-time as a teacher
yeah.
and part-time in my business, there were certain things that I didn't know to do for a full-time business that I had to learn on the fly when I went full-time in my business that
Oh, yeah.
I hadn't realized were important.
Yeah, like there's such simple things, like knowing, for example, this should be so elemental, but some people don't know it, that you need to have a separate checking account for the business, you know?
Yes. Or you need to register your business with the state in order to
Yeah,
actually
or,
have
or
a
or your
business.
county and the city, and that you need to learn what are the rules of the place where you live regarding businesses.
Hmm.
Yeah,
Yeah, simple
so
things like that.
important. Yeah.
Yeah. And a lot of times people get ahead of themselves and they'll start the website and they'll name the business and they forget, oh, wait, it actually needs to be a business.
Yeah, and then also spending so much money and having a huge overhead from the get-go. Instead of starting with a shoestring budget, so that your overhead is manageable, so that if at any time your business doesn't make as much money, you are covered.
Hmm. Yes, so
Yeah.
important. Wow, we just did a little seminar on business, and that wasn't even what we're coming here to talk about. Yeah, so I asked you to come on to the podcast
Yes,
because you have this unique expertise as a feng shui practititioner.
that's correct.
Can you talk to us a little bit about like what is feng shui and how
Yeah.
can we use it?
Feng Shui is the ancient East Asian art of placement or space arrangement. It basically teaches you what to put where so that you can be happy, healthy, and successful.
Mhm.
And so the ancient Chinese have a saying that goes like this: all the things in your home are talking to you. Make sure they have nice things to say, right? And so
Mm,
feng shui is about arranging your space in a way that it becomes part of your support system instead of just being something that drains you. A lot of people relate to their homes as just like another toddler they have to take care of, like um, a being that is constantly asking for your help or your attention. There's this to mop, there's this to clean, there's this to fix. And with feng shui, it's kind of like you put your home on autopilot. So your home supports you in
mm.
everything that you want to do. It's like your platform or your launching pad that helps you get anywhere you want to get.
Okay, so something you said really hit me. So as we're recording, it's a Monday.
Yeah.
And yesterday I came home and I was tidying up. I was, spraying the counters with my basil cleaner in the kitchen and
Oh,
I
that's
was
that's awesome.
sweeping up and I had the thought, wow, it's a
Mhm.
lot of work having a house. And what you're saying is that if I would create a little bit more adjustment in my space, I might feel more supported by my
Exactly.
home instead of
Yes.
feel like I'm always working for it.
Yeah. And so let me just show you an example, right? Say, for example, you have to vacuum your office.
Hmm.
If there's nothing on the floor of your office that wasn't meant to be on the floor, vacuuming is going to take you 2 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
If the floor of your office is full of junk that you have to pick up in order to vacuum, it's going to take you 20 minutes.
Right.
And so
Right.
when you have a home that is tidy and organized, and when you have systems, taking care of the home becomes so much simpler, so much easier. It takes a lot less time.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of people resist creating those systems because it means making decisions about the amount of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And so when I traveled for full time 5 months last year, and
Oh.
what I noticed, and one of the reasons I went to do this experiment was I have so many more ideas when I'm traveling. And there's a direct
Yeah.
relationship between the amount of stuff I'm managing and my creative flow. And so as I've
Exactly.
come back into the house, into like one living in one place, I'm noticing that I still feel like I have too much stuff because I'm just managing stuff sometimes. And
Mm-hmm.
I'm having a little aha moment right here with
Yes.
you that I need to get rid of even more. And
Yeah.
when we met on our call a few days ago, you were telling me that you were telling me about the impact of clutter. Could you
Mm-hmm.
talk about that?
Well, the thing is, if if you work from home, right? So everybody works from home to a certain degree because everybody pays their bills, everybody manages their household and all that, right? But even more if you have a business that you run from home, if you have too much clutter, it's gonna make you stagnant, it's gonna hold you back. So for example, if I have a great idea, right? If I have a great idea and I want to jot it down and I have a notebook and a pen handy, my idea is going to be preserved. But
Hmm.
if I have a great idea and I don't know where I can find a pen, and then I start lifting all sorts of papers from my desktop, right? And by the time I find it, the idea may have gone away. And so when your home is organized, when your office is organized, you are able to find things a lot faster. When people tell me they don't have time, when they tell me I would like to do this thing, I would like to do this other thing, I just don't have the time, they usually what they have is too much clutter. So because of the clutter, all these activities that should be taking very short amounts of time are taking them huge amounts of time. And here's the other thing, right? In Feng Shui in general, we use a rule to see if something belongs in your home or not. So in other words, whether to define whether it is clutter or not. And it's asking two questions. The one question is, do I use this?
Hmm.
And the other question is, do I love it? So if you
Mm.
use it, keep it. If you love it, keep it. But if you don't use it and you don't love it, why? Why is it occupying space in your home, right? But I have a personal definition for Feng Shui too. I mean, within Feng Shui for clutter, clutter is decisions delayed. Every item in your home that is cluttering is a decision you should have made some time ago and you didn't make. And every day there's decisions you need to make and you don't make those decisions, so it accumulates. And maybe you have a default decision. For example, you go to the store, you buy a new lamp, and there's this old lamp you need to do something with, but you have a garage. So why make a decision about the lamp when the decision can just be take it to the garage, right? And
Hmm.
then you go and buy new clothes and you make some room in your closet and you take the old clothes, you take them to the garage. So when you have a default decision, take it to the junk room, take it to the garage, take it to the basement. You accumulate all these unmade decisions. And then you start feeling overwhelmed because in that unfinished basement that you have been using for storage for the last 10 years, there are thousands of decisions that need to be made. And making decisions consume calories. When people start decluttering, they often find they feel uneasy, they feel unsettled, some people get dizzy. And it's because making decisions consumes calories. So what I do is I teach people to make decisions for categories of items. And here's another trick that is super important. It's not so hard to decide what needs to leave your home. If you answer these two questions, do I love it? Do I use it? It's really easy
Hmm.
to decide what shouldn't be in your home. The hardest decision a lot of people make, especially if it's people that are concerned about the environment, is where is this thing going to go after it leaves my home?
Hmm.
And so sometimes I'm working with people that have some kitchen gadget, a coffee maker that no longer works. And I tell them, well, you haven't had this work for 3 years, and it's still here. It's creating clutter on your um, countertop. You don't have room to do things, to prepare foods, and you need to let it go. And they tell me, well, I don't want it to end in the landfill. And then I tell them, then you're turning your home into a landfill. Right? And so,
Yeah.
in my programs, I have a group program where people can work on the feng shui of their home month to month. And one of the things I offer is some courses on decluttering. And we have lessons on how to deal with the different types of clutter. So you can make batch decisions about things, right? So, for example, one thing that people struggle with a lot is decluttering bottles of shampoo or bottles of perfume that maybe you use one time, 2 times, you decided it was not for you, but you feel like it's wrong to just put it in the trash. And I found there's actually a thrift store that takes partly used bottles of shampoo and perfumes and things like that, right? So once you know that, it becomes easier. And there's also places that there's some thrift stores that have teams of people fixing electric gadgets and electronics. And so, for example, you might have a lamp that no longer turns on, but if you send it to this donation place, they have people who fix things before they put them out to sell, right? And so knowing what's going to happen to the items makes it a lot easier for people to give things away. I was just talking to a mom who has her daughter, she's hasn't played with her Barbies for 3 years, but she still wants to keep them. And I was telling her, sometimes with children, what you can do is talk about somebody else. So, for example, you can talk, you haven't played with your Barbies, and for 3 years, and there's some little girl out there who loves Barbies, but her mom doesn't make enough money to buy her new dolls. All she can do is go to the thrift store. And so if you donate your Barbies, there's going to be some little girls that's going to be so happy, and some mom and dad are going to be so happy because they could get her what she wanted for a lower price. And it's going to be such a blessing for the little girl because you have put so much love into these Barbies, and now this love is going to be transferred to her, right? And so when you put it like that, it becomes easier.
I love this. And as you were talking, I was feeling truth in everything that you said and recognizing, oh, this was the difference between me traveling full time and me landing in a home. I
Yeah,
couldn't accumulate stuff because I didn't have space. And now
exactly.
that I'm in a home again, you're right, I'm delaying these decisions. And so
Mm-hmm.
sometimes they end up on my piano bench or they end up in my
Yeah.
garage. And I tell myself I'm going to get to them later. And a lot of times I do, but sometimes I don't.
And the more they accumulate, the harder it is to confront.
That's right. That's right.
Mhm.
And so, as we think about how we can apply some of these general rules, which are pretty much rules for living, it feels like,
Yes.
and then we think about bringing in more love or more money
Mm-hmm.
into our lives, are there specific things we could do? Let's start with love.
Yeah, I was going to suggest that too. So let's start with the most simple thing. If somebody is single and they want to attract love, and their home is so cluttered that they are embarrassed to invite anybody over, even their best friend, do you think that's blocking their ability to attract love? Of
I
course it
do.
is.
Yeah.
If you have a home you are proud of, it is a lot easier to visualize inviting somebody over and showing them your life and how you live.
Mhm.
Before a person commits to you, they want to know how you live. And that's not something that you just know because you're alive. My grandmother actually had this idea of people have to learn how to live. And she taught me that, from when I was maybe 2, 3 years old. And when we went to visit her friends and relatives and other people, whenever we left the home, she would tell me, those people know how to live. Or she would tell me, those people don't know how to live. Right? And if they didn't know how to live, we wouldn't go back. And this was regardless of social status, of income, what kind of house it was, how much money or wealth they had. It was just a sense of knowing how to use your space so
Mhm.
that you can live a good life. Your life is made up mostly of the things that happen in your home. And
Mhm.
so if you have, for example, if you have a closet in your bedroom that is so full of stuff, how are you gonna bring somebody in when they can't even hang a sweater, you know?
I feel called out right now.
Yeah. And so here's a trick. If you're single and you want to attract love, empty up the one nightstand. You should have two nightstands, right? If you have the bed pushed against the wall, you're blocking a partner coming to you. So you should have room to walk on the two sides of the bed, and two equal or close to equal nightstands. Empty out one of them. So if you get a partner and your partner comes and stays over with you, they have a place where they can put their glasses and a book and their wallet and phone, right? And also, it's a rule for home organization. 1/4 of your spaces that you use for storage should be empty. Because if they're not empty, you're struggling to get things inside and out.
Okay.
So that's a rule.
1/4 of the storage space should be
Yes.
empty.
So for example,
Okay.
if you look at your closet and you have your clothes hanging in your closet and you just push all of the clothes to one side, like really, really tight, 1/4 of your closet should be space.
Okay.
And of course, then you spread those out, right? If you don't have that 1/4, you are going to be struggling with your clothes. You know, you're going to be having to use might to get a dress out of your closet. So that is just for maneuverability. You need that 1/4 empty. The same thing with a kitchen cabinet. If it's full to the brim, you can't find anything without unloading things from that cabinet, right? The same thing applies for any drawer. 1/4 needs to be empty for you to be able to move things around and find things. So when you are trying to attract a partner, do 1/3 instead of 1/4.
Okay.
So have even less things, right? So that you can think, okay, if I met the partner of my dreams and they wanted to move in with me, right off the bat, there would be room for them to have some clothes in here. And maybe in the beginning, it's just a corner in the closet where they can stash a backpack, right? But if you have space for them to come in, you're creating the possibility for them to come in. In Feng Shui, we do the same kind of adjustments and enhancements in a primary bedroom for a couple that are married as for a person who's single wanting to be in a relationship.
Really? It's the same adjustment. Okay.
The exact same adjustments. You know, the things that might change. For example, if you have a partner, you would have a photo of you and your partner in your bedroom. If you don't have a partner, you can't have that, right? But you could have an image of two little birds together, right? Something that symbolizes couples. But most things that you do in the bedroom, the way you arrange the furniture, the colors that you choose, the kind of bedspread that you choose, they would be the same, pretty much the same. And so you're creating the circumstances where a person can just move in. When somebody visits you, they make an assessment of you by looking at your home. So for example, if somebody comes to visit you and they walk in your bedroom and the top of your nightstand is full of prescription drugs, what impression do you give them?
That you're not well.
That you're not well. Do you think that's a good impression to give a person that you just starting to know?
No, probably
right?
not.
No. So certain things in your life should be hidden. They shouldn't be like there for everybody to find, to see. And so you have to be careful what image you present to a potential partner. We all need to present our best self to a potential partner.
That makes so much sense.
Yes.
And it's just subtleties in thinking about the bigger picture. It's not just having the house picked up. It's creating an idea that maybe there's space for me in this house.
Exactly. Another quiz question, right? So for example, if a woman has children and her bedroom is full of pictures of her children, what does that tell a potential partner?
I think it would make the partner question whether or not there's room for them.
Exactly. You know, her life is so taken over by her children, there's no room for me. Right? Now, if she has photos of the children anywhere else in the house, that's good, but not in the bedroom.
Right.
And it's the same for a couple. If you are married and you have children, you shouldn't have pictures of children in the bedroom, because otherwise you're going to be arguing about the children.
Oh my goodness. Okay, so I'm imagining some listeners right now have
Yeah.
their jaws on the floor thinking,
Yes.
whoa,
Uh-huh.
whoa. So would you invite a married couple with photos of their children in their room to put those in the living room, in the hall? Where should they go?
They can put them dining room is usually a really good place for family photos. Hallways are good places for family photos. Living rooms, it depends, right? And so if your living room is more of a family room where people just gather in to have fun, yes. If it's a formal living room, you kind of want to shy away of family photos.
Okay.
It just looks more elegant to not have any personal photos in the living room. So some houses, some high-end homes, they have the living room close to the front
Mhm.
door, right, or the street, and then they have a family room at the back. And so in those cases, you will have the family photos at the back, but not in the living room at the front. If you have one room that you call the living room, but it's more fulfills the functions of a family room, you can have some small photos of family there. You can have photos on the mantelpiece. But what you don't want to do is you don't want to fill up your walls of your living room or family room with family photos
That makes sense.
because the family room represents your social life. So if you want your social life to just be being with the kids, then uh, then you will fill it up with family photos. But if you want a more exciting social life, would you actually get together with other families and sometimes with adults and not with the children, then you want to keep more possibilities open. Some people let their life be taken over completely by their kids.
Mhm.
Mhm. And then that causes trouble in the relationship.
Yes, and I see that with people that I work with. I work with typically women 40 plus, and
Mhm.
a lot of them are coming to me because there's a transition that they're navigating, whether it's
Yeah.
an internal transition of like, I just know there's something more I want to do, or an external transition with kids moving out of the house, or retirement, or partner retirement. And I think what you're saying is making so much sense to create the home that signifies the life you want to live.
Yes. Mhm.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So, are there other things that we can do to make more space for love in our homes?
And I imagine when you're saying love, you also mean intimacy, you also mean passion, right?
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, because that's also very important. And so there's certain things here. So one thing that you want to avoid in the bedroom is photos of the children, right? But also you want to avoid spiritual images or spiritual books. And so in some cultures, for example, in Catholic culture, there's this habit of putting a crucifix above the headboard.
Mhm.
And do you really want to do it with Jesus watching, right? Or with
Fair point.
Mother
Hmm.
Mary watching or the Buddha watching, whatever the
Hmm.
religion is, when you have religious images, especially images that are like in the shape of a human being, that's like
Hmm.
people watching you. So you don't
Mm.
want pictures of your children, you don't want pictures of family at all. You only want pictures of the couple. And then you don't want spiritual books, you don't want spiritual images. And so some people say, well, this is I'm not going to throw out Jesus, right? And then what they can do is have a proper altar in some place in their home, have a place that is devoted to their faith, where they can have the crucifix, they can have a Bible and different things. But that's not the bedroom. And when you read a spiritual book, you are not in the mood for more mundane things, right? And so
Mm.
if your bedside table is a book that makes you feel enlightened or spiritual and uplifted, that is not the right kind of energy to get intimate contact with your partner. So you should not have these kinds of books or images in the bedroom. And other things that you need to get out of the bedroom that interfere with passion are work items. It
Hmm.
is a really bad idea to have a home office in the bedroom. Really bad idea. Couples will argue to no end about work.
Mm-hmm.
And another thing that is really bad is to have exercise equipment. And so many people are like, well, my primary bedroom is big. I'm going to get a treadmill or a bike, right?
Hmm.
And that really upsets a couple. So, first of all, these machines, they're noisy, they make noise, and they're work. And so,
Hmm.
there's only three functions for the bedroom: sleeping,
Hmm.
reading, and making love.
Mm.
And so
Hmm.
your bedroom should be a haven for those things. It should be a place that makes it easy for you to communicate with your partner. So for example, you have a large primary bedroom, you can have the bed section, and then you can have a sitting area. And so you can sit, you can read, but not spiritual books, right?
Mhm.
And you shouldn't have things that remind you of work. You shouldn't have things that remind you of exercise, because exercise is hard work. You don't want to give the impression that marriage is hard work. So you want to create this environment where it's easy to communicate and there's some warmth. So usually you do not want to have cool colors in the bedroom. So if you decorate your bedroom in white and navy blue and gray, these colors also reduce passion. So you want warm colors, you want earth colors, and you want some fire accents. Fire colors are reds usually, right? So it's or any variation of red, like crimson red, burgundy, magenta. And if you create a warm environment, you make people get closer together. If you create a cool environment, then you do the opposite. So colors are really important. And also textures, what kinds of sheets do you have? What kind of bed cover do you have? What is the temperature of the room like? And so for some people, right, if as you age, if you start having trouble with night sweats or things like that, you need to change your sheets. You need to get some sheets that keep you cool, that absorb that weak sweat away and things like that. So there's certain adjustments that you have to do as life happens in order to make sure that the bedroom stays comfortable for both. In all my over 25 years of doing Feng Shui, I have only met one couple that slept in separate bedrooms and were still a good couple. And people will give you reasons, say, for example, oh, we sleep in separate bedrooms because one of them snores.
Mm-hmm. I just heard that this weekend.
Yeah, you did?
Yes.
Yeah. And so, but there's the CPAP machines, right?
Mm-hmm.
So if a person snores, there's things that you can attach to the top of your nose to help you breathe. And there's other things. Good couples find solutions. Couples that are already cooled off in the passion sense, they don't have a problem going to sleep in different bedrooms. I'm telling you, in 25 years, only one couple and has stayed a strong couple after separating bedrooms.
That makes sense to me. I mean, being single, I don't instantly resonate with that as far as like I'm just seeking information, I think. But of the couples that I observe and the couples that I know that I'm friends with, I can see a closeness when they're sleeping in the same room. And I see just a slight, and I'm talking energetically, I see a slight distancing happening energetically when they're in different rooms or different houses or even in different states. I can feel that energetic difference.
Yeah. I was listening to other episodes of your podcast, and you talked about woo-woo things, right? So,
Yeah.
Yeah. So if you want to get woo-woo, right? A lot of the issues that you have with your partner, they get resolved while you're sleeping, when your energy field and his energy field or her energy field are communicating while you sleep. And so if your energy fields are in different continents, or in different rooms, you're not going to get the advantage of that nighttime communication.
That makes so much sense. And so there were three things that when you were talking, I was like, oh, I need to change that, that, and that. And one of them is I have my weights visible in my room. Because, like you say, I have a large primary bedroom, so those are going to move. And I have business books on my nightstand, and those are going to move. And my bedspread, my comforter, is white. But I have a really pretty pink velvet one in the closet. So I'm going to swap that
There
out
you
as
go.
soon
You
as
just
we're
have
done
it.
talking.
Yes. Yeah. If your bedroom should make you think about passion. As soon as you walk in your bedroom, you should be thinking, oh, maybe today is the day. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I do.
But, and of course, when you're younger and your hormones are raging, right? And the frequency of passionate encounters with your partner are going to be greater. It's going to be greater. And then as time goes on, if you have been a long time with the same partner, or if you are aging and now you don't have the same libido and stuff, you are going to, there's going to be differences, but there should always be the desire. Some of the older couples I have worked with, the the libido may have gone down because of menopause or hormonal changes. Sometimes it's some prescription medication, one of them is taken, that affects their sexuality, their performance, their interest. But even in cases when they can't be physically close so often anymore, there's always the desire. They're always thinking of their partner as a sexual partner. And here's, a red flag that for me is when people say they're best friends. They say my husband is my best friend. That to me is a red flag. And I have never heard the couple say that after I asked them how's passion, they didn't tell me passion was down. And I think a lot of people, they start saying my spouse is my best friend when they feel that passion is dwindling, and they're trying to justify that they're still a good couple because they understand each other, because they enjoy doing things together. But the difference between a friendship and a romantic partner is sexuality, whether that sexuality is expressed all the time or not. And so many times when people say my partner is my best friend, they're actually saying friend with no benefits.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay. Yeah. I can see that. I can see that in my own romantic relationships, that
Yeah.
when friendship sort of tipped the scale, it absolutely was because passion had dwindled, because I did
Yes.
not refer to somebody I was a romantic partner with as my friend if there was a high level of passion.
Exactly. And there's another reason. So the function of a best friend, one of the functions of the best friend is that they help you sort out your feelings. If you make that person your spouse, you're going to hurt them, because if you're in a relationship and you start having doubts about your relationship, you go to your best friend and you sort out your feelings with your best friend. You express yourself, you say things. And then when you come back to your partner, you have already arranged things in your mind and you have a better idea of what's going on. But if you make your spouse your best friend and you go express those doubts to that person, sometimes you can cause irreparable damage. And so, people get so mad at me when I say this. I almost hesitated to even bring it up today, because they get really, really mad. And some people tell me, well, if my husband cannot be my best friend, then I don't want him. Or if I can find a partner that is not going to be also my best friend, then I'm going to stay single. And yes, your partner can be the person you trust the most in your life. But if you say that your best friend, you're knocking them down in category,
Right.
in the hierarchy of importance in your life. If they're a friend, it's not the same as being a partner.
Well, and I can imagine people would be angry about hearing this if it was confronting. If they're like, wait, I feel called out right now.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So we know some of the things that we can do to create more of a sense of passion, including
Yeah.
changing the colors and making sure that the bedroom is reserved for those three things: the sleeping and intimacy
Reading.
and reading. Yes, I forgot about that one, which is so important. What about if someone is wanting to increase their financial abundance? Are there things that they can do in the bedroom or in the home
Definitely.
in general to help increase that?
Well, let's start with the bedroom, since it's kind of like the topic, right? You can make your bedroom more luxurious, because when people have more money, they invest in more luxurious things. If you think about, the people are not so different from each other, and they're not so different today than what they were 5,000 years ago. When people have more money, they buy more luxury. They buy better clothes, better shoes, better cars, and a nicer home, whatever it is, right? And so in order to promote abundance in your life, you can improve the quality of the things at home. And one of those things is, for example, silk pillowcases. Anybody who has tried silk pillowcases cannot go back to any other kind of pillowcases, or at least I haven't met anybody, right? And so maybe it's silk pillowcases, maybe it's bamboo sheets or silk sheets, maybe it's a more luxurious looking bedspread. And so this is not about spending more money. This is about having things that are better quality. This may mean going to a thrift store and getting lucky, right? It doesn't necessarily mean spending more money. But what feels luxurious to you? What feels good to your skin? Like you said, the velvety bedspread, right? And so in order to increase your own sense of abundance and self-worth, improve the quality of your things, improve the quality of your pajamas.
Yes. That was game
Yeah.
changing for me when I decided I was
Yes. Tell
no
me about
longer
it.
I had this like old sweatshirt or old t-shirt that I would wear, to bed, and for years that was what I wore because I was
Uh-huh.
quote unquote comfortable because it
Yeah.
wasn't actually pajamas, but I always felt schlumpy. And then
Yeah.
one year I was like, it was probably 5 or 6 years ago, I decided I wanted to feel luxury all the time. And I was no
Yes.
longer going to stand for a ratty old t-shirt. And so I invested in Cozy Earth bamboo pajamas. And I
Awesome.
swear my life changed almost instantly because my identity shifted into I'm someone who spends $125 on my
Yeah.
pajamas.
Somebody who
Because
deserves this, right?
yes,
Yes.
yes,
Yeah. And so if you deserve that, what else do you deserve?
that's right. And then it changes all of the
Yes.
standards and you stop putting
Yeah.
up with things that don't feel good for whatever reason.
And I think in your work, as a coach, when you're working with people, you're also helping them identify what holds them back, what stagnates in their lives, and also how they're not treating themselves right.
Hmm.
So a lot of those things that you're working with when you're helping people, right? They have an equivalent in the home. So if in addition, when you're working with your clients and you're helping them see how their choices are not serving them well, you can also help them see, okay, if you were more worthy, what would change in your home, right?
Hmm.
Would you be
Hmm.
sleeping in an old t-shirt, or
Right.
you will be sleeping in proper pajamas that feel like a caress to your body? This is super important.
Hmm.
And so this is going to make you feel more luxurious. It's going to help you feel more worthy. And it has a huge impact on wealth. Actually, in Feng Shui, it's wealth, prosperity, and self-worth is one life area. And so
Ooh.
your own sense of self-worth has a huge impact in your ability to grow your wealth. And then if you want to bring in more money to your home, there's things that you can do. So first thing is when you open your door, your front door, or when you open your door from the garage or your side door, they should open freely and noiselessly. If you try to come home and your front door bounces and hits you back, right? Because there's stuff behind the door, that's not good feng shui. That's not good for you. There's no flow. So there should
Hmm.
be flow. When you come home, you should be able to open the door and come in with no restrictions. Then the first thing you see should be something that makes you feel good about yourself, something that makes you feel worthy. So a
Hmm.
piece of art
Hmm.
that when you look at it, you think, man, I'm doing well in life. So usually original art is what works
Yeah.
best, right? This was done by hand, by an expert, by a person with sensibility, with sensitivity. And it's beautiful too. If you look down and your entry rug is a beautiful rug, and your feet feel the softness of coming home, right? Then you continue to think, I'm worth it.
Hmm.
And so when you open the door, it opens smoothly. The first thing you see in front of you, the first thing you see beneath your feet is something that makes you feel that you have arrived. You have nice things. Yes, you can have nice things, right?
Yeah.
And if there is one part in the home that should be of higher quality than the rest of the home, is the foyer. So and this doesn't mean that you're spending more money, right? But
Hmm.
it means that your entry table is fabulous, that your rug is really good quality, that you have some original art on the wall, that maybe on the side wall you have a really nice mirror. All these impressions that you get when you first come home, they tell you a story that you're doing well, and then you can continue to tell that story. Do you use like affirmations or vision boards with your clients?
I have a unique take on affirmations because
Okay.
I believe that if we say things that our subconscious disagrees with, we will create more resistance in our bodies. So, for example,
Mm-hmm.
if someone wants more time, because a lot of my clients have the abundance and the luxury that they want, but they're trying to build businesses. And so
Yes.
that kind of ends up being the focus. What they're really asking for is spaciousness and time.
Mm-hmm.
And so
Yeah.
if I say to somebody, do this affirmation, I have all the space I want, their subconscious flares up with, well, no, I don't, because I have to take my son to soccer and my daughter to the dentist and all the things. But if we change it and we say, I am becoming someone who has all the time she wants, so that
That's
there's
awesome.
a little bit of room to become, then
Yeah.
it will, the subconscious will line up with the conscious, and then the
I
affirmations can work.
100% agree with that. And using, the ing ending, that
Hmm.
makes such a difference because then your body believes it. But take it one step farther. For example, you want more spaciousness in your life. If you create more spaciousness in your home, is that easier to believe?
Yes.
Of
Ooh,
course,
I
right?
like
So,
where
like
you're
if you say,
going.
I want more spaciousness in my life because I don't have time for myself, and there's no space in your home, like the place is cluttered, there's things in the hallway that are obstructing your path. There's no space. Literally, there's no space, right? But if you start decluttering, you start making room for things, if you start moving furniture around so your space feels more spacious, if you place a mirror in the right spot so the room feels bigger, then the idea that your life can be more spacious is very easy to believe.
Mm, hmm.
So in Feng Shui, we see reality as really easy to change.
Yes, because
Yeah,
you can almost create a living vision board in your home.
exactly. Yes. So your home is like a three-dimensional vision board.
This is amazing. Oh my
So
gosh.
yeah, like you could all day use an affirmation that you are doing well, but if your home tells you no, your home's gonna win because it's there all the time, right?
Yes.
Yeah, your
And
thoughts are fleeting, but your home is always there. But if your home starts telling you the right stories, your life can change a lot easier.
yes, because it's like planting seeds in the subconscious.
Yeah.
I love this. And I know that you have some free gifts for our listeners.
Yeah.
Could you talk about those? And I'll be sure to put all the links in the show notes.
So there's one of the gifts, which is very apropos our conversation, is 5 mistakes that people make in primary bedrooms. And so
Mhm.
these are the things you shouldn't do. And as you go through the mistakes, you're gonna see also what the good thing to do is, right? And also if you go to my website, if there's gonna be on the menu at the top menu, so my website is nightstandstofengshui.com. And on the menu, you are going to see free and low cost resources. So if you click on that link, it's going to take you to my books. I've written a number of books on Feng Shui. And then you're also going to see some free classes that I teach. There's a lot of freebies and things that you can enjoy. And take that first step, like get into Feng Shui, start understanding how your home influences your life choices, and turn the home into your supportive partner instead of it being a drain.
Mm. Oh my gosh, this is amazing. And if people want to connect with you, where's the best place to connect?
Well, go to my website, 9stepstofengshui.com, everything's spelled out. And also, some people don't know how to spell feng shui. And so you can also type spacearrangement.com, no spaces, just spacearrangement.com. And that is going to redirect to my website. And so the website is very clear, it's very easy to understand. And then you can see how to contact me. And also, if you go to the free and low cost resources, you're going to find a link to my online community, which is called the Feng Shui Friends Community. For a one-time charge of 99 cents, you can join the community, and in there you can get articles, tips, so all sorts of really good information on Feng Shui.
That's amazing. Thank you for providing all of those resources. That's incredible. I can't wait to go. I'm going to go binge all your content. This has been such an amazing conversation because I feel like you have provided listeners with really tangible, tactile things that they can do to create
Yes.
shifts. And so I'm going
Mhm.
to keep you posted. I'm going to make changes right now. So as we're recording, it's July 14th. And
Yes.
so this episode will come out later in the fall. And as I
Uh-huh.
record the intro, I'm going to update
Yes.
all the changes that have happened
Yeah,
between.
and especially share, what difference did you feel from just having the white comforter
Mhm.
to changing it by the rose velvety comforter?
Yes. Okay. I can't
Yeah.
wait. Thank you so much for being here, Moni. I really
Thank you so
appreciate your
much for
time.
inviting me. It's been such a joy to share time with you.
Wasn't that an amazing conversation? I learned so much, and I did make a lot of the changes that Moni suggested. One of the things I did was I switched out my bedspread. I moved the white bedspread, white I moved the white bedspread into the guest closet and moved out the pink velvet one into my room. I put away the weights in the closet. My room looks beautiful and restful. And while I still haven't met my person yet, I know that he's out there. I know he's getting closer because I can feel changes in the ways that I'm showing up. So, and this is so important as we think about manifestation in any capacity, we have to continue to take the right actions that we're inspired to take. And so the room was the first step, and now there's some other things that I'm doing inside of my life which are going to make that happen even faster. I invite you to make the changes that Moni suggested in your life. And if it makes a big difference for you, will you let us know? We love hearing from you. Be sure you connect with Moni across her social platforms. I'm putting all of her links here, including the link for her free gift, which is the Feng Shui Master Bedroom, so that you can spice up the love in your life, whether you're partnered or single. Thank you so much for listening to Your Yes Love Life. If you enjoyed this episode, would you please consider sharing it with a friend and leaving the podcast your 5-star rating and review wherever you're listening? Thanks for being here. Bye for now. Until next time.